श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति शांति शांति. So yesterday we saw with three examples we negated the association of the gross, subtle and the causal body by the example that there is, see, jalabindhu nirakasham, the water drops, the raindrops will not purify the space, ether. Similarly, I, who is ever pure, cannot be purified by the Ganges water. So the causal, the gross body is negated. Then we went to the subtle body, like the vrikshafalaihi vrikshaha mayi adhyastha annapanadi. So like the trees don't desire or hate their fruits. Similarly, in me, there is no desire for or attachment for the fruit, the food, etc. Now, third, the causal body. Sthano prakalpitas choraha. So, a person or a thief who is superimposed, imagined on a pillar, does not dismiss the pillarness. Similarly, the ignorance which is superimposed on me does not dismiss my inherent nature. So, the gross, subtle and causal body, all these three bodies are negated. The association of three bodies are negated from me. Now, the next stage is the three avasthas. Jāgaraḥ, svapnaḥ, śuddhasya avastha. The three states of a waking, dream and deep sleep. So he says, ajñāne buddhivilaye nidrā bhaṇyate budhaiḥ vilīnājñānatatkārye mayi nidrā kathaṃ bhavet. ajñāne buddhivilaye nidrā bhaṇyate budhaiḥ vilīnājñānatatkārye mayi nidrā kathaṃ bhavet. Beautiful. Ajñāne buddhivilaye. Ajñāne, in the ignorance. Buddhivilaye, when the buddhi, when the antakarana, when the mind, vilaye, merges. So he is using the vilaya for mind and he is using the vilaya word for the ignorance also. In the ignorance, the ignorance, the mind merges. That is sleep. In the self, the ignorance merges. That is a liberation. But wait, in the sleep, the mind merges, but it comes back. Pradurbhava, it manifests again. But that does not take place in the realization. There is this difference between two vilayas. That is the difference between two vilayas. Like you drop some water or there is a painting, there is some ink or something is dropped or you painted something. You ask someone, what is that? You look at it like we saw. What is that? That is sheep and goat. Now it became a dog. Now you cannot even imagine the sheep and goat there. Similarly, in some painting or in some scribbling, something you saw, when you see what it is really, then the imagination, whatever you had, you cannot revisit it. What did I see? What? I saw an eye and all. Which is the eye? I saw an eye here. You will be confused because you now know the original. After knowing the original, you will not be. We have had experience of this every time. So once you see the original, you will not be able to see the superimposition which we already had. So similarly here, once you see the substratum, there is no possibility of the ignorance to revert back, to come back. So it can happen only in the sleep. So what is sleep? We have to understand. See, there is this nādi called kurma nādi, the nerve, spiritual nerve called kurma. Okay, on the mouth of it, when the mind stays, that is called as a waking state. When it enters the kurma nādi, in between, wherever it is, that is dream state. When it enters the heart, then that is called as a sushupti, deep sleep state. Now, when it enters heart, means heart is the place for the self. Angushtamatra purushaha. Bhagavan Bhashyakara says that the heart is the space cavity in the spiritual heart, which is of the size of thumb. That is where the self is. Now, you are going in the self, but where does this ignorance come into picture? We say the self is filled by ignorance. Therefore, you go and stay in the ignorance. But still, since the ignorance is in very close proximity with you are in the ignorance. You are ignorance then. Since the ignorance is very close proximity with the self, you experience the bliss. The ignorance hides is a existential nature and the knowledge nature. You experience only the bliss. So he says, now the tip is the outer side is the waking state, the inner side is dream state, and the inside side is a deep sleep. Now, the inner side also, we'll come to that later. Ajñāne buddhivilaye, when it merges in the inner, the heart area. The ignorance, in the ignorance, which is covering the self, when the mind merges there, then sa nidrā budhaiḥ bhaṇyate. That is what is said to be nidrā, sleep. By whom? By the people who know about sleep. Now, vilīnājñānatatkārye, when the ajñāna and its effect, they have merged. In merging, then it can re-emerge. No, that is not possible, as we have already explained this. So, when the ignorance and its effect merges in me, mayi, nidrā kathaṃ bhavet. How can there be sleep? Where is sleep? What is sleep? Sleep is an effect of mind. Absence of mind is sleep. Now, where can there be sleep in me? So, that is what he says. Next, if there is no sleep, then there should be dream. No, we don't talk about dream now. Then what is that? Waking state. But after sleep, you have to come to dream and then go to waking state. Or you start waking state, dream, and deep sleep. Why is this sudden jump to the waking state? Because waking state is the culprit for the dream state. And for us, the Ekavada in the school, for us in Vedantins, there is ignorance or there is no ignorance. There is ignorance or there is no ignorance. That no ignorance can be the merging of ignorance in the self or the complete annihilation of ignorance in the self. So that is the state. So the emergence of ignorance, emergence of mind becomes the cause for creation. So he says, buddheḥ pūrṇavikāso'yaṃ jāgaraḥ parikīrtyate vikārādivihīnatvājjāgaro mena vidyate. Buddheḥ pūrṇavikāso'yaṃ jāgaraḥ parikīrtyate vikārādivihīnatvājjāgaro mena vidyate. Beautiful. He says, buddheḥ pūrṇavikāso'yaṃ, the mind, buddhi, intellect, mind here, okay, antakarna. Antakarna pūrṇavikāso'yaṃ, complete manifestation. Antakarna, when it completely is manifest, it is in a pinnacle. Then what happens? Ayam jāgaraḥ parikīrtyate. This is what is called as jāgaraḥ. Vikāsa, it's manifestation or it's a expanse. Vikāsa also can mean expanse. So it has shrunk, and now in the seed form it was now it has expanded completely. Now what has expanded? This intellect, this mind, the antakarna, it has expanded completely. That is what is called as waking state. Now he says, vikārādivihīnatvāt or vikāsadivihīnatvāt, whichever way you want to understand, you can accept. So since in me, there is no vikāra or vikāsa, there is no transformation, vikāra, there is no vikāsa, there is no expansion. Shrinking, expansion, etc. takes place only in something which has parts. And I don't have any parts. I am one without parts. I am not one without limits. I am one without limbs. Therefore, jāgaraḥ na vidyate. There is no jāgaraḥ. There is no vikāra transformation or there is no vikāsa expansion. Therefore, in me, because brihatvat brahma, one which is all pervading, that is what is Brahman. Brihi vriddho, that is the root word. So he says, in me, there is no jāgaraḥ, there is no waking state. Okay, then the dream state, you didn't talk about that. You are coming. sūkṣmanāḍīṣu sañcāraḥ buddheḥ svapnaḥ prajāyate sañcāradharmarahite svapno nāsti tathā mayi. sūkṣmanāḍīṣu sañcāraḥ buddheḥ svapnaḥ prajāyate. sañcāradharmarahite svapnaḥ nāsti tathā mayi. sūkṣmanāḍīṣu buddheḥ sañcāraḥ svapna prajāyate. What is svapna? We spoke about swapna. What is swapna? When the mind enters the kurma nadi, a spiritual nadi called kurma, tortoise. In that nadi, if it enters, then there is dream. The dream also varies. Sañcāraḥ means travel. Means it is not there in the mouth, then in between and then enters the heart. No, there is a travel. Sañcāraḥ means movement, travel. What is the movement and what is the travel? We have seen, experienced this movement and travel. How? See, yesterday I had a dream. I don't know, it was a good dream. I don't remember. You say that. You sometimes say, I saw a dream yesterday. This happened, this happened, and this happened. Vividly, you experience everything. And sometimes there is no difference between the dream and waking state. You are like, this is waking state. For some people, waking state is dream. For some people, dream is waking state. So the reason is this. If the mind is closer to the waking state, that experience is different, vivid. If it is in between, that is partially vivid. But it is closer to sleep, then you remember, but you experience, but you don't remember that dream. That is the sañcāra, that is the moment. Okay. Now, svapnaḥ prajāyate, that is what is called as dream. Now, tathā sañcāradharmarahite, I don't have movements. Why? Because movement take place only in limited. I am unlimited. I am omnipresent. So there is no movement possible. Therefore, mayi svapnaḥ nāsti, dream also is not possible in me. Okay. There is no wake up. There is no waking state. There is no dream state. There is no sleep state also. But forget about it. There is possibility of the attributes of them, or the gross body's attributes. They should definitely be experienced. The possibility of see, earlier we said the attributes of gross body. Now he says the attributes of different states. Possibly that is there, right? So we will talk about that. Paripūrṇasya nityasya śuddhasya jyotiṣo mama āgantukamalābhāvātkiṃ snānena prayojanam. Pūrṇasya nityasya śuddhasya jyotiṣah mama āgantukamalābhāvātkiṃ snānena prayojanam. Beautiful. Pūrṇasya nityasya śuddhasya, 3 words. These three words denote 3 kinds of limitation. Pūrṇasya, I am one who is absolute. Absolute means deśābhāvātkva aparichinnaḥ. I am not limited by time. By saying Pūrṇa, I am negating the limitations by time. Nityasya, what is nitya? What is eternal? Kālena abādhyatvam. Trikāla abādhyatvam is nityatvam. That which is not limited by time. So I am eternal. So there is no space-bound limitation. There is no time-bound limitation. Okay, object causation. So he says, śuddhasya, what is pure? That which is not made impure by another object. Since I am advaya, non-dual, there can be no possibility of impurity. Therefore, shuddha. So time, space, causation, or space, time, causation. These 3 kinds of limitations don't exist in me. Me, jyotiṣa me, and I am self-effulgent. That kind of self-effulgent, you don't need another proof to know me like this. I am self-effulgent. Therefore, in me, āgantukamalābhāvāt, there is no āgantuka. Āgantuka means momentary, or āgantuka means transient, that which comes and goes. Those kind of impurities don't exist. Those kind of impurities don't exist. What are the āgantukamala? Right from the ignorance till the body dirt. See, why do you take bath? Because your body has a dirt. If you remove that dirt, use soap, remove that, does that mean it is gone forever? No, it comes back. Āgantuka, it is only for a period. Okay. Then the body, is the body permanent? No, that is also not permanent. That is āgantuka. The cause for the body, thought function, is that permanent? That is also not permanent. That is āgantuka. The substratum for that antakara, that vritti, that thought function, which is mind, is that permanent? That is āgantuka. We just saw it merges in the deep sleep. That is āgantuka. The ignorance, is it eternal? That is also āgantuka. Because it may be costless, beginningless, but it has an end. Āgantuka. So, from ignorance to the dirt of the body, everything is āgantuka. They are all mala, impurities. So, when there is no body impurity, because body is āgantuka, snānena kim prayojanam? What is the use of snāna, taking bath? So, do you mean to say you don't have to take bath? That is not what is meant here. It is said that the body purity does not reflect my self-purity. That is the idea. Okay. Now, deśābhāvātkva gantavyaṃ, snānābhāvātkva vāsthitihi, sthanābhāvātkva vāsthitihi, pūrṇe mayi sthanadesho, kalpito ahamadvayah, deśābhāvātkva gantavyaṃ, sthanābhāvātkva vāsthitihi, pūrṇe mayi sthanadesho, kalpito ahamadvayah. Deśābhāvāt, since there is no limitation by space. When there is no limitation by space, only when there is limitation by space, you can travel from one place to another. You are limited by space, therefore you go from here to there and that from here. Like that cat coming from the next house. Now, this is possible. But, kva gantavyaṃ? I am not one who is limited. Where will I go? Okay. But still, you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to come from anywhere. But you can stay put somewhere, right? That is another problem. I can't stay put also. Why? Because sthana bhavat. There is no substratum for me to reside, stay anywhere. Because Brahman is swasmin pratishtitam swe mahimne pratishtitam. It is established in its own greatness. It is not established in anything. There is no substratum for Brahman. Brahman is the substratum for everything. So, since I am the substratum for everything, there is no substratum for me. Therefore, kva sthitihi, kva vasti, where can I reside? Where can I exist? I cannot go anywhere. I cannot reside anywhere. Oh, this is a poor situation. No, pūrṇe, I am absolute. That is why I can't go anywhere or I can't reside anywhere. Absolute, mayi, in me. Sthanadesho kalpito. These time, the place and the residence, they are all imagined. Therefore, why? Because I am non-dual. In non-dual, whatever you see as duality is imagined. So I am non-dual, therefore this is imagined. These two and the other things are imagined. Okay. But you definitely should have the hunger pangs or the thirst, etc. Okay, thirst. What is thirst? What is thirst first? Let us understand and then enter thirst. He says, prana sañcāra sañśoṣāt pipāsā jāyate khalu soṣanānarha chidrūpe mayyesha jāyate kathaṃ. Prana sañcāra sañśoṣāt pipāsā jāyate khalu soṣana anarha chidrūpe mayi yesha jāyate kathaṃ. Prana sañcāra sañśoṣāt. Prana, the vital air, sañcāra, movement, sañśoṣāt, because of the movement of air, dryness. Sañcāroṣāt means becoming dry. So, whatever, when the air moves, how is our clothes and all dry? It's not just sun. Even if there is no sun, if there is air, it will dry. That is why they say, put your cell phone when it is in water, you drop it in water, put it not under the sun, put it in the gap of the AC duct. That will dry it even quicker, better, good way. So, think as air movement dries things. And pipasa, therefore, since there is dryness, you feel the dryness because of the air movement, the vital air, the prana. Therefore, you want to drink water. Now, indeed, this is how it happens. But shoshana anarha chidrupe, in me who is consciousness, which is incapable of becoming dry. The consciousness, the knowledge which is incapable of becoming dry. Because Bhagavan very clearly says in Gita, nainam chindanti sashrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kleyate intyapaha, na shoshayati marutaha, na shoshayati marutaha. That is the important point we have to take here. Na shoshayati marutaha. The wind does not dry it. Na shoshayati. Exactly. Shoshana anarha chidrupe. I, one who is incapable of being dried by the wind. Esha jayate kathaṃ. How can this thirst come? How can this thirst be? It is impossible. Okay, but then not thirst, then hunger. Nadishu pīdyamānāsu vāyvagnibhyāṃ bhavet śuddhā tayoho pīdana hetutvam samvidrūpe kathaṃ mayi. Nadishu pīdyamānāsu vayu agnibhyāṃ bhavet śuddhā tayoho pīdana hetutvam samvidrūpe kathaṃ mayi. What is hunger? We have to understand that. So he says, Nadishu pīdyamānasu, Vayu Agnibhyam Nadishu pīdyamānasu, through the Vayu and Agni, through the wind and fire. Nadishu pīdyamānasu, when the nerves are troubled, beaten. See what happens. When you are breathing a lot, you feel hungry later. Because your nerves are beaten by the prana. Or when you jog or run, what happens? The fire in the belly that starts burning very brightly. Therefore, again you start feeling hungry. Vayu agnibhyam, by the fire and the wind. Okay. Now this is why you see the dogs, etc., all the animals, they breathe faster and they are hungry always. Whatever you put, whenever it's going to eat continuously, because they are hungry. Not the dog which is tied to a pole and staying there. The dog which we say, I am like a dog. What happened to you? I have become like a dog. I don't have anything to do, but I can't stay quietly. People are like that. They can't stay quietly, but they don't have anything to do. They'll go here and there and here and there. That's all. So when that happens, when the prana works double time fast, then you feel hungry. Kshuddha bhavet. Those jivas are the animals, etc. They are bhoga bhumi. They are the bhoga yoni. They are placed for only experience. They can't acquire new karmas. They can only experience their karmas. That's all. So, samvidrupe mayi tayoho pīdana hetutvam kathaṃ. Samvidrupe mayi, in me, who is of the nature of knowledge, what can trouble me? How can these two, this prana and this vayu and or the prana and the fire, how can they trouble me? They can't trouble me. Okay, I can understand, but the body, with reference to the body, there can be some changes, and those changes can maybe impact you. What are the changes? I'll say that. He says, शरीरस्थिति शैथिल्यं श्वेतलोमसमन्वितं जरा भवति सा नास्ति निरंशे मयि सर्वगे. शरीरस्थिति शैथिल्यं श्वेतलोमसमन्वितं जरा भवति सा नास्ति निरंशे मयि सर्वगे. Sharirasthiti shaitilyam. Now he says Shweta samanvitam. Shweta means white. Loma, Roma, they are same. Loma means hair. Samanvitam, endowed with white hairs. So after a period, your hairs, the black hairs, start becoming white. A sign of old age, but that is not the only sign of old age, because some people have naturally the hair white. Some people, for different reasons like pitta, etc., the hair becomes white. her hair turns white, even at the young age. Now, therefore, that alone cannot be accepted to be a lakshana, definition and implication for old age. So he says another important point, which is a sharira sthiti shaithilyam. Sharira sthiti shaithilyam. Sharira means body, sthiti means existence, shaithilyam means weakness. There is weakness in the body. Whether you use it or you don't use it does not really matter. In English, what do they say? You don't use it, you lose it. But in fact, you use it, you lose it. That is also there. So he says, Sharira sthiti shaithilyam, the body. This is the beauty of old age. The beauty of old age is when you are young, you don't even know there are some body parts which reminds you that I exist in the old age. There are so many joints that start paining, which reminds you, see, I was all here all the time. You didn't take care of me. So, sharira sthiti shaithilyam, that happens. That is what is called as jara bhavati. That is what is called as old age. Sa sarvage niramshe mayi nāsti. In me, who is all pervading. All pervading means, all pervading also, like the self of the Tarkikas, we said, is the logicians accept multiple selves and one self associated with another self. There is parts, but in me there is no parts also. In me, one who does not have parts, this old age, etc., cannot exist. One who does not have limitations, sarvage, limitations, cannot have the weakness, etc. So, mayi nāsti, they don't exist. Okay. Old age, forget. But youth, because youth is the age of ego. You say youth or you say ego, they are kind of synonyms. Why? He says, this is what Bhagavan Bhashyakara said. Palastavat kridasaktah, tarunastavat tarunisaktah, vruddhastavat chintasaktah, parame brahmani kopina saktah. In the absolute self, no one is interested. Why? The old age, this fellow is always thinking about something or other. What old age thinking? There's no thinking in the old age. This fellow thought when he was young, at the old age, I'll start out doing all this Vedanta. And when he becomes older, then all the body parts remind him that you are old. Now he will not be able to concentrate on the knowledge. So, what about the young age? Young age has its own problem. What is that? Yoshit krida sūkṣmanāḍīṣu garvādhyam yovvanam kila atmanande paripūrṇe mayi nāsti hi yovvanam. What is yovvana? He says, yoshit krida sūkṣasya antar garvādhyam yovvanam kila atmanande paripūrṇe mayi nāsti hi yovvanam. Yoshit krida sūkṣasya. Yoshit krida sūkṣasya. Tarunastavat taruni sakta. A young man or a young boy is behind a young girl or a young boy, whichever, whatever. So this is what happens in the young age. But here, yoshit means normally it is translated as a girl, woman. Yoshit means woman. Yoni, woman. Now, it can also be cause. The other causes can be accepted here. Okay. Now, krida. Causes means objects. So, yoshit here can mean the means, the objects. Okay. Krida means playfulness, playing with it. Krida sūkṣasya. And because of that playing with that, sukha, you get happiness. So, there are three words. I am breaking it in this way for better understanding. Yoshit normally is woman. Here we don't understand it as woman only. We understand it as object. Object, then krida, playfulness, then happiness. Playing with the objects gives him happiness. Okay. And because of that kila, indeed, antargarvādhyam, because of this, there is a great amount of ego. See, I am able to enjoy. That is why I do this. There's ego. And that is why at the young age, if you put a proper samskara, then that person will be able to do the namaskara properly at the youth. Okay, when that is not, because the youth, that is a age of ego. So what happens is, when he becomes old, he will not be able to do namaskar. At that point of time, he will think about this. So the problem is, youth is full of ego, because he thinks that you thinks, he or she that thinks that he is very smarter than the elder people, and he'll laugh at, oh, you can't, you don't. And the old fellow will be like, yes, yes, I've been there, done that. So he says, kila. Because of that, indeed, is there is this ego. So, but yauvanam, kila yauvanam, pare pūrṇe ātmānande. 3 words. Pare pūrṇe ātmānande. First is, first also 3 words. Yoshit krida sukha. Here also 3 words. Pare pūrṇe ātmānande. Yoshit, cause, objects. But I am above. Pare means I am above, superior than all the means, all the objects. Parat, paraha, we saw that. I am beyond, greater than the greatest. And beyond the objects. Pare means beyond the objects. Okay, pare. Krida means involvement. He says, pūrṇe. Why will there be involvement? Only if you feel yourself to be incomplete. To make yourself complete, you are involved to get rid of it or to gain something. But I am one who is a complete, absolute. So there is no activity also. Okay, there are no objects and there is no activity. Fine, but you will be one sorrowful person. For that, he says, Atmanande. I am involved with the objects because I experience some happiness there. But I don't involve with the objects. You do that. I don't do that. Because Atmanande, I am of the nature of bliss. Therefore, I am one who is above the objects and beyond the objects, and one who is absolute, and one who is of the nature of bliss. Therefore, mayi, in me, yavvanam nāsti. There is no ego of a youth. Okay. Then no old age, no youth, young age. Okay, come to that. He says, Mūda buddhi parivyāptam dukkhanam ālayam sada balyam kopanashīlantam name sukha jalam budheḥ. Mūda buddhi parivyāptam dukkhanam ālayam sada balyam kopanashīlantam name sukha jalam budheḥ. Mūda buddhi parivyāptam. What is child? Who is a child? What is the childhood? Mūda buddhi parivyāptam. Parivyāptam means completely engulfed. Engulfed by what? Mūda buddhi, stupidity. A child is someone who is completely engulfed by stupidity. There is no maturity of, there is no intellect. There is no discriminative power. And that is why we see the kids, not now, in earlier olden days, when we were kids, we used to play with our own urine and our own feces. It happens. Now, they have this Huggies and all that. Therefore, they don't play. This is not a right thing, Guruji, because things have changed nowadays. Oh, is it so? Okay. Sada dukkhanam alayam. It is a place of Sada dukkhanam alayam, place of sorrow. But no. We don't allow them to play in the urine and all, because we put them the Huggies and all that. Good. But that Huggies gets filled and it is full wet. He has shat himself in that Huggies, and he can't say that. And he is dirty now. He is smelling now. Now that fellow has, and there are other insects and things like that because of that, which is attracted to that, and he can say nothing. There is pain, he can't say. There is a scratch, he can't say. There is hunger, he can't say. Now people say, it is a cry of anger. Oh, then it is a cry of hunger, then that is a kind of joy. They give different phonetical explanation to each of this. But the kid, this fellow will be saying, I said, it doesn't mean that. I said, I am hungry. Where did you learn this? I didn't teach you this language. My language you learn. This is a big problem. Now, this fellow says, it is dukkhanam alayam. He is crying because he is experiencing pain. And see, I have a scratch. I can do scratch it and get rid of it. At least. Or put some powder or get rid of it. Now, this baby, if he is scratching, something is having in there is a pain or something in his back, a scratch in his back, he can't say, please. He can't say that. And it is always a pain for him. He can't say, he can't get rid of it himself. And the other fellow does not understand. And therefore, what is your only way to try to attract the attention? Cry. Or you become angry. That is why he says, kopana-shīlatvam. You are always angry. Why don't you idiots don't understand my language? Please, scratch there. No, not there, not there, not there. Here. This is kopana-shīlatvam. There is another kopana-shīlatvam. You are always crying because you are in pain. And your parents, your mother does not understand it. She thinks you are hungry. Or she thinks you need to sleep. And you are not satisfied because your problem is something different. Therefore, you are troubling her. You are ruining her sleep. What is the end result? She is going to get angry. End result, kopana-shīlantam. So, you are either pained and angry because the problem is not resolved, or you make the other person angry because the problem is not resolved. Kopana ends in anger. That is what is a balyam. That is what is a childhood. Sukha jalam buddho me nāsti. And in me, one who is of the nature of absolute bliss, ocean of bliss. Sukha, bliss, ocean. Jala ambudhi means ocean. I, one who is the absolute ocean of bliss. In me, this baby, this making someone angry or being in pain does not exist. Okay. Now, with this, he brings in, okay, in me, one who is beyond the states of waking dreams, deep sleep, beyond the states of gross, subtle, and causal, and their effects, and whatever the attributes there are, I have no association with them. I am absolute existence, knowledge, bliss, non-dual. So, when this is the inquiry, when you do this inquiry, when you understand this, what happens? Evam tattva vicārādho nimagnānam sadānrunām paramadvaita vijñānam apurokṣam na samśayah. Evam tattva vichāra abdho nimagnānam sadānrunām paramadvaita vijñānam apurokṣam na samśayah. Evam, in this way, sada tattva vichāra abdho, always one who is tattva vichāra abdho. Tattva means the truth. Vichāra means inquiry. Abdho means ocean. In the ocean of inquiry of truth, nimagnānam, one who is immersed. One who is always sada nimagnānam, one who is always immersed in the ocean of truth. That is why the Shruti very clearly says, तच्चिन्तनं तत्कथनं तदन्योन्य प्रबोधनम एतदेक परत्वं ब्रह्माभ्यासं विदुर्बुधाः पंचदशी करासेस. तत्कथनं तच्चिन्तनं तत्कथनं तदन्योन्य प्रबोधनम. Tachintanam, thinking about it. If you are not, if you are with someone, then tatkathanam, talking about it. Tat anyonya prabodhanam, discussing about it. This is what is called as Brahma Abhyasa. Okay. Then they say it also says supteramruter kalam nayed vedanta chintaya, till you go to sleep, till you go die. The association with the body, that is death. So till then you have to lead your life in Vedanta Chinta, inquiry into the self. And the third, Anyan Vachan Vimunchata Amurtasya Yesha Setuhu. Give up the useless talks, other useless talks, because this is the means for the bridge for the knowledge, the bliss, the truth. Okay. So, Nirnam, one people who are always immersed in this ocean of inquiry, as said here, Paramadvaita Vijnanam Aparoksham Samshay, na samshaya. So they will gain the immediate experience or immediate knowledge. For us, the knowledge and experience are not different. We keep repeating it again and again. In other places, first you gain the knowledge and you experience thing later. Now here, the knowledge is experience, experience is knowledge. Like we said, disturb the painting, you see something there. But when the painter says, that is not what I painted, this is what it is, then you see, once you see that, the imagination which you had completely is lost. Now you cannot look and remember that whatever you imagined. So he says, I am one who has the immediate knowledge of the self, which is non-dual absolute bliss. Na samshaya. There is no doubt. One will gain that immediate knowledge of absolute bliss. There is no doubt. Who? One who is always immersed in this, not drowned. Nimagnanam, drowned or immersed. One who is immersed in this inquiry. Okay, you'll see. Om pūrṇamadah pūrṇamidam pūrṇāt pūrṇamudachyate pūrṇasya pūrṇamadāya pūrṇamevāvaṣiṣyate. Om shanti shanti shanti.